Kazi Nazrul Islam was a poet, musician, and revolutionary who lived in the early 20th century in Bengal. He was known as the rebel poet for his fiery and rebellious writings against the British colonial rule and the oppression of the masses. He was also a pioneer of Bengali music, composing songs that blended classical, folk, and modern styles. He was a champion of religious harmony, human rights, and social justice, and inspired millions of people with his words and deeds. One day, he received a letter from a young girl named Anjali, who lived in a remote village. She wrote that she was a big fan of his poems and songs, and that she wanted to meet him and learn from him. She also wrote that she was facing many difficulties in her life, as her family was poor and her father was ill. She asked him if he could help her in any way. Nazrul was touched by the letter, and decided to visit the village and meet Anjali. He took a train and then a bullock cart, and reached the village after a long journey. He asked the villagers where Anjali lived, and they pointed him to a small hut at the edge of the village. He knocked on the door, and a frail man opened it. He introduced himself as Anjali's father, and invited Nazrul inside. Nazrul entered the hut, and saw Anjali sitting on a mat, holding a book of his poems. She looked up and saw him, and her eyes widened in disbelief. She jumped up and ran to him, and hugged him tightly. She thanked him for coming, and said that he was her hero and her teacher. She asked him to recite some of his poems, and he obliged. He also sang some of his songs, and played a flute that he had brought with him. Anjali listened with rapt attention, and clapped and cheered after each performance. Nazrul then asked Anjali about her life, and she told him about her struggles and dreams. She said that she wanted to study and become a doctor, and help her father and other people who were suffering from diseases. She also said that she wanted to write poems and songs like him, and express her feelings and thoughts. Nazrul praised her for her ambition and talent, and encouraged her to pursue her goals. He also gave her some advice and tips on how to improve her writing and singing skills. He then gave her a gift, a pen and a notebook, and told her to write something every day, and send it to him. He promised to read and reply to her writings, and guide her as a mentor. Anjali was overjoyed by the gift, and thanked him profusely. She said that he had given her the best gift ever, and that she would treasure it forever. She also said that he had given her hope and courage, and that she would never give up on her dreams. She asked him to stay for some more time, and have some food and tea with her and her father. Nazrul agreed, and they had a simple but hearty meal together. They talked and laughed, and felt a bond of friendship and respect. Nazrul then bid farewell to Anjali and her father, and left the village. He told them to take care of themselves, and to keep in touch with him. He also told them that he would come back to visit them again, and see how they were doing. He then boarded the bullock cart, and waved to them as he departed. Anjali and her father waved back, and watched him until he disappeared from their sight. They then went back to their hut, and looked at the pen and the notebook that Nazrul had given them. They felt a surge of gratitude and happiness, and thanked God for sending them such a wonderful person in their lives.